have an intro, a song. That is the song. That is the weird thing that I came up with. Uh, it's a bunch of noise, but I liked it. I don't know. There's something about it. It sounded like an AI made it, even though I spent like 2 hours making it. So, mission accomplished, I guess. So this is the second of these. In some ways, I feel like I have even less idea what to do now compared to last time, because last time I I had a bunch of stuff generally I wanted to say like up front, but now I've said all that stuff, so now it's just like do the thing. So quick word about what you see on screen. This was all made by AI with AI. Artbreeder.com. I guess I should have that text up somewhere. Artbreeder. Lovely site. I have the lowest cost subscription to them because I make way too much art, way too many everything. And when I first started using it, like a lot of things, I became like really obsessed with trying new things out and figuring out how it responds to keywords. Um, because all of these AI that use keywords to help make decisions, the text ones, the search engines, um, the image AI, they all kind of respond a little bit differently. So uh, the first thing that's above me right now is actually, let me hide it for a second. Let me hide both of these. So I'll even hide myself. So this is the background I made. I wanted the hills and the shrubs and stuff to be bright neon, even though that doesn't make sense. And sometimes it's kind of hard to convince the AI to do something that doesn't make sense. It's like, no, I really want like magenta, hot pink mountains. Why? I just do. And sometimes it goes with it. Sometimes it tries to make things kind of photo real by default. Kind of messes with things. You can't. I don't think you can see my mouse, but these weird star things, like there's this artifact there, and I might have cleaned it up, but I kind of like that it's this weird shape, this weird UFO thing. And there are two moons, which I also think is kind of cool. That's one of those things that AI does sometimes in art. It'll just put two suns in for no reason, really. It's just like, yeah, that makes a picture look awesome. So I made that earlier today, along with the two pieces of art that will be inspiring our stories. That's a sneak peek to the second one. So, what are we doing today? Today, I have two things planned. The first is going to be, I get this pointed at me correctly. The first is going to be a continuation of my choose your own adventure thing. Haunted carnival that's not haunted, spooky carnival thing. I realized in editing the last video I did this like Goosebumps thing and then like a Scooby-Doo thing, and I'm still doing the kids horror choose your own adventure thing, but and then my default choice for this second one was like, okay, Wild West setting, and then there's some kind of like shapeshifter out in the desert. And I was looking up a little bit on skinwalkers and discovered what little there is on the Wikipedia, which includes basically like, please don't make stories about skinwalkers because it's not something that that's supposed to be taken frivolously. It's kind of a serious thing, and like represents, um, they're obviously I'm going to butcher it, and this is why I'm not going to try to build explicitly on skinwalker lore, but basically they are bad, evil witches that are like the antithesis of Navajo culture, and they're this sort of like trickster, devilish kind of figure. And so I'm definitely not going to try to claim to be an expert on that, but I'm going to do what often happens in art, which is draw inspiration from things, whether I'm kind of trying to or not. And I don't know, the idea of something weird out in the desert that doesn't have a definite shape, that is like the opposite of a healer, the opposite of a helpful good witch. I think that could be an interesting antagonist, but I'm not going to use Skinwalker in the prompt because that's sort of part of a religion that I'm not a part of, that I don't want to be taking frivolously. Yeah, so it's probably going to be, probably call it something like a werewolf. Just go with like, sort of a more, not more generic, but more European American sort of tradition that's not it's not ripping off and abusing and fucking around with something that people take seriously as part of their culture. So I always do too many intros, but that's my sneak peek intro and disclaimer about the non Skinwalker story that I think I might do later. And I tried not to. I kind of liked what I did last time, where I had sort of the more structured thing I was working on first, and then a more improvised thing later on, and then while I was editing the video, I did some thumbnail art with Artbreeder, and then I thought, okay, this time I'll do those in advance. But in order to do those in advance, I need to think ahead of time about what my improv story is. So, and then of course, I don't want to fuck things up, so I try to research it. And even though I had like an hour and a half, like to try to research it while I'm also trying to focus on other shit and the art and all of that. So anyways, 10 minutes is definitely enough of an intro, but it's going to be a couple hours, so hopefully that's not too much explaining for where my head is right now. I'll bring this back up, bring up the first piece of artwork. I took last week's art that you didn't see on the stream if you were here on the stream, but if you see the video on YouTube, you'll see this. I'm not going to go looking for it because my AI art folders are full of not safe for stream material, so I'm not going to go try to dig through those. But yeah, this was a AI generation with last week's art as input. And I think I like that idea for continuing stories. I have something that's kind of rough, I throw it out there, and if I'm working in the same world, I'll have a better idea of how to adjust the prompt, and then I can also use last week's thing as a starting point. Yeah. So that's enough meta stuff. More than enough meta stuff. But that's everything in my head that's not story related. So, try to get to it, huh? Let's try to finally get to it. And I'm not going to drink as much this time, I promise. It's not even an option this time. Because I was watching the playback of last week's, I'm like getting sloppy with my speech, getting sloppy with my typing. I'm like forgetting things that I've already done. I'm like asking the same question multiple times and stuff. It's like, it's just bad. Sometimes when you just are trying to dive into something, you know, you get a little bit more liquid enthusiasm and courage, then really helps you out. So this time, not so much. Not so much. We're going to have a little bit more focus this time, I hope. Okay, so I'll show the very beginning of this thing. So we have two scenes. We have all right, the explainer prompt. The explainer prompt. Sorry, this is what I was looking for. So this is my my approach. I'll read it out loud again. Oh, hold on. First, let me make sure have this about where I want it. And show probabilities. Okay. I also clap a lot in the first episode, which makes it a little harder to edit when I'm like, yes! Blowing out the audio. But, you know how it is. I haven't streamed in a long time, like a long time before last time, so had to relearn a few things. So here this is, my general plan. Story with branching paths, small scenes that each end in two options, and I might add more options as warranted. Like if I think it'd be really funny to have a third option that's like a completely terrible decision that just results in an immediate dead end, or like one chance to get back on track, or a dead end. I might throw in those third options here and there, but at the very least, for there to be any choices, there have to be two. That makes sense. Two options to go through. With 5 total choices. I'm kind of skipping around in this. We don't generate it all at once. Each scene should be about 250 words, which is like really limited. I chose that slightly arbitrarily, just thinking of like kids' attention spans, and figured like, okay, like 4 tweets max, 3 to 4 tweets. That's about what we'll try to do for each scene, and it was generating stuff that's like 230, 240 words, and like my descriptions of the scene are almost that many words. So I'm gonna have to learn how to write for kids, because I don't do that. I I try to write, I guess, you know, everybody primarily writes for people like them and the people around them, and then kind of secondarily for a general audience to be understood. And I also try to think of, would this translate well? Would this make sense to an international audience? And I probably don't consider that as much as I should, but as somebody who has made content online for a long time, even though I've never made it as a content creator, I've still talked to people from all over the place online. So at this point, if somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm in Australia, or I'm in the Philippines, or I live, you know, in the middle of Russia, like I'm not totally surprised to hear it anymore. So yeah, when any of us is putting out stuff online, you know, you want your family to understand you, you want your friends to understand you, but obviously, you'll reach more people if you can at least consider language that is a little more general, reaches a little broader. I don't even remember why I started saying that. That was another thing I learned, as well as don't pick up the microphone so much because it clunks it around. Is I get on a lot of tangents just trying to explain myself as I go with something like this. I didn't realize like how much I think about everything I write until I had to like speak it all out and explain it all out before I wrote it or as I wrote it. So yeah. So let's get to it. That's enough. That's enough shit that's been on my mind. Let's try to get to it. So 5 total choices and 1 read through. Oh yeah, I was talking about writing for kids. That's right. Writing for a general audience, and now I need to remember write for kids. Short scenes. I haven't quite decided for this one if I want the very first one to end in a choice or if I want to like kind of cheat and have like there's one scene at home and then that always ends with the first scene in the park, and that's where your choices start. And I'll probably do that. I mean, I have no one else to consult. That's the thing I'm considering doing, and it'll help set the stage a little bit, even though I want to minimize how many sort of false choices there are. I think that'll be worth it. That'll be acceptable. Okay, and then there's going to be an epilogue that some of the best stuff ends with. Dead ends are the worst endings. I might throw in more as we go. Classic spooky carnival. Characters get split up. This is one of the things I don't know why I didn't change. At the second scene. And the reader will follow their chosen character through the rest of the branches. We have a female named Character and a non-binary one named Phoenix. So, and this is something that came up last time. It did not know, like, it just used any pronouns for Phoenix and used he whenever it was referring to them both. It would say he and she. And that's not what I wanted. I know these are not the same format, but this is kind of the format that has emerged, and this is how I usually identify for what it's worth. So that's what we'll do for Phoenix. And, like, for the record, I definitely suspected that my pronoun was not he at age 12. But when I tried to explain that to people, no one really understood what I was talking about. And, yeah, so I just kind of continued to go by the pronoun I did not prefer at all. And that's just how things were in the ancient time of like 20 years ago. But now I would like to specify and model this identity for the next generation, so they can choose that if they feel that fits them. And then now what are we doing? So we have the first scene, and I can tell I'm already like, oh no. less hyped up because I have less to explain. And I know it's going to be more work, more hard work, but we'll see what's up. So two things. The first part is more work, but if you didn't see the last stream for some reason, or if you don't remember, because I don't remember, so I'll go over it again. This is what it generated for us last time. Emma and Phoenix were two best friends who had grown up together, exploring their small town and all its secrets. One of the most mysterious places in town was the old abandoned carnival. It says none. I'm gonna change this to few. Few of the kids their age had ever been brave enough to explore it. Do you think there are witches living in that house? Emma asked Phoenix, her eyes wide with excitement. I'm gonna move that. Let me put the spaces where they're supposed to go. Okay. So here we have the explainer prompt. Here we have, I guess I'll do this, just so it knows. This is like developer shit, but GPT understands that means a comment, so I'm going to use it. So this is scene 1. I slightly rewrote it for flow. Because I'm also trying to, as I learned, you have to keep this concise, so yeah. I don't know, but I bet if we explore Carnival tonight, we'll find out, Phoenix replied with a mischievous grin. Emma considered the suggestion for a moment. The carnival seemed like an incredible adventure, but it was also a bit scary. She looked at Phoenix and knew that he was just as excited as she was. The he pronoun kind of bothers me. But then I'm not sure if I should say they were or they was. I guess they were. Yeah. That's how that's usually done. Alright, let's do it, Emma said finally, her heart pounding in her chest. With that decision, the two kids set off into the darkness of the abandoned carnival. So, yeah, I think I want to split this up. Because the scene where they decide and then bam, they're at the carnival, make a decision, I feel like that's too rushed. So I'm going to, because I made some changes again, I'll just copy all of this, put it in here. Text only. So I need to ask it to do something, because right now I'm just working on it. I'm just editing. But I was going to do some of this off stream. And I didn't. I just didn't. So this is what writing really looks like. It looks like a lot of making faces at the screen. And like playing with your hair and shit, trying to figure out what to do next. Which is part of why I guess I never really... I always thought it would be cool to do a writing stream. And then the writing stream I did, I spent talking about writing way more than I spent writing. And yeah, we're figuring out the balance. So I'm gonna split this in two. I guess first I need to ask it to expand the first scene a little, and then really expand the second scene where they get there. So I guess I need to just tell it that. Okay, so scene 1. Da Vinci, please. Actually, I'll take this out. I already copied this. That's going to be part of the second scene. This is going to be the end of the first scene. So this is scene 1. How many characters, or how many words is that? That's 151. So I have afforded myself about 100 words with this decision. So I like that. That makes me happy. Now what are we going to do with those 100 words? I have no idea. So let's figure out. Let's pick something out that we want to ask Da Vinci to expand upon. Old abandoned carnival. Few kids have ever been brave enough to explore it. I guess one thing we wanted to add here is supposedly those who had were eaten by the witches and never seen again. Or never seen again because they had been eaten by the witches. Okay, that's a little closer to the vision. Where's that? That's after explore it. Explore it. Let's throw that in. Current word count 167. So we still have a lot. That didn't eat into much. Emma, eyes wide with excitement, asked, "Do you really think there are witches living in a house, Phoenix?" I don't know. I bet if we explore the carnival tonight, we'll find out. Alright, let's do it. So I guess this is the first thing we'll do. Da Vinci, please expand on. Please rewrite and expand on this scene. Oh yeah, and the keyboard, for the record, does not sound the way I thought it sounded on the recording. Because I love the way these clicky-clacky keyboards sound. And on the recording, it's all bass. It's just like me like fucking thumping the table. And it sucks. It's not an appealing sound. So I'm sorry to everybody. I try to get quality keyboards that sound badass because I love the sound of typing, but You just don't get the full experience. I'm sorry. So here we go. I'm gonna add asterisks. Just so it knows, just so it sees, like, this is some unusual shit. Hopefully it keeps it in mind. Actually, I'll... Da Vinci, please rewrite and expand on this scene. Lengthening the argument. It's not really an argument, but make Emma have to convince Phoenix to take the risk to explore old carnival grounds. Okay, so hopefully I'll turn this frequency penalty down a little bit. We'll do our first generation of the night. Last time it took an hour, this time it took 35 minutes. So we're making progress in terms of learning how to stream. Actually, let me close this. I have a little bit more space. So yeah, let's make that progress. Submit. Did it do anything? It didn't do anything. What did it do? Is it lagging? Should I ask it to do something again? Okay, let's submit. The hell? Okay, I guess I'll put this down here. Okay, try this. There we go. Okay, cool. So apparently if you ask it to do something before you put in the whole scene, it kind of doesn't know what you're talking about. Okay. Nice. Nice. We have expansion. We have extended lore. And it's not Phoenix that's dragging Emma into something. It's Emma dragging Phoenix into something. Which, I like. I don't know. It feels politically necessary, and also I just like it. Okay, cool. Let's see. Emma was filled with excitement, but Phoenix was hesitant. Oh no. This is not a rewrite. This is just an expansion. Okay. Okay, we'll read it and then decide how we're gonna reconcile this. Or if we're just gonna add it all together. Emma was filled with excitement, but Phoenix was hesitant. Are you sure we should be doing this? They asked, looking at the dark and mysterious carnival. Hey, got the pronouns right. Emma nodded, her eyes wide with anticipation. Come on, it'll be an adventure, she said eagerly. We can explore the carnival and maybe find something cool. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, you could die. You could die in exactly 16 different ways. That might happen. But forget that. Moving on. What's the worst that could happen? Phoenix looked unconvinced, but Emma quickly added, "We don't even have to go inside if you don't want to. We can just walk around and check things out from the outside. It'll be fun." After a few moments of contemplation, Phoenix finally agreed. "All right," they said, reluctantly. "But if anything weird happens, we're getting out of there as soon as possible." The two kids set off in the darkness of the abandoned carnival. Emma was filled with a mixture of excitement and fear, but she was determined to have an adventure. She and Phoenix walked around the grounds looking at old rides and attractions that had been left behind. It was eerie and silent, but Emma couldn't help but feel a strange sense of awe at the sight of it all. As they walked around, they noticed a small shack in the corner that seemed out of place. It was old and decrepit, a small light flickering in one of its windows. Phoenix froze in their tracks and whispered, "Do you think that's where the witches live?" Emma gulped nervously. She wasn't sure what to do. Should they investigate further or turn back? Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. I like that. I like that. It's not exactly what I wanted in two important regards, but it's still cool. And it still has useful stuff, I think. So let me copy this. And just kind of throw this in. So I'm gonna have like more than I can really reconcile easily. So I might try to ask Da Vinci to do some of that, and I might try to do some of that myself. I still don't know. But let's go over my thoughts. So, get this towards me. So first of all, I wanted a re-ride of this, and I didn't quite get that. So that's going to take some reconciling. I'm going to have to take the bottom of this, or just all of it. It just tack these together, honestly. That's really not that weird. So I already upvoted this. It's gonna fuck up our probabilities, but I'm just gonna delete that. So this is what we have so far. Emma and Phoenix were two best friends who had grown up together, exploring their small town and all its secrets. All of. Yeah, I kinda... One of the most mysterious places in town was the old abandoned carnival. Should I specify they haven't gone to the carnival yet? One of the most mysterious places in town they still hadn't seen up close was the old abandoned carnival. I feel like there should be commas there, but I'm gonna leave them out for now. I go overkill with commas. In the same way that I over explain basically everything I do. I overuse commas. But that's part of I don't know. To me that's part of, like I said, trying to make whatever I do clear for as broad of a global audience as possible. So I don't assume you share any of my reasoning. You viewer at home. I try to err on the side of over explanation. You really think there are witches living in that house, Phoenix? I don't know, but I bet if we explore the carnival tonight, we'll find out. Phoenix replied with a mischievous grin. I like that they talk each other into it. The way I've kind of set it up. That's kind of how stuff like this happens with friends. Like one has the idea in the abstract and is like, "Let's go do that," and then you get there and it looks like hell. And then the person that wasn't interested at first is like, "Oh no, this is interesting. Let's go." And then the person that just liked it in the abstract is like, "Ah, this looks dangerous. Let's go back. Let's go home." It's like they get each other into this mess. I kind of like that. Sort of, you want characters to be consistent, but not too consistent, because people aren't really totally consistent. It's also a little funny to play with that. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. With that decision made, the two kids set off into the darkness of the abandoned carnival. So that's where we cut off the first segment. Emma was filled with excitement, but Phoenix was now hesitant. But as they approached, Phoenix became hesitant. "Are you sure we should be doing this?" they asked, looking at the dark and mysterious carnival. I was going to say on the horizon, I feel like that might confuse a 10-year-old. In the distance, I think that's more easily understood. Emma nodded, her eyes wide with anticipation. "Come on, it'll be an adventure," she said. "We can explore the carnival." And what did Phoenix say? Phoenix just said, like, "If we go, we'll find out." Come on, it'll be an adventure. Oh wait, this should all be part of one block because it's all Emma talking. Emma said eagerly. "We can explore the carnival and maybe find something cool. Besides, what's the worst that could happen?" Phoenix looked unconvinced, and Emma quickly added, "We don't even have to go inside if you don't want to. We can just walk around and check things out from the outside. It'll be fun." After a few moments of contemplation, Phoenix finally agreed. "All right," they said reluctantly, "but if anything weird happens, we're getting out of there." I feel like I can make this a little bit more interesting than as soon as possible. I want to say like yesterday. I don't want to be like too confusing for a 10-year-old reader. I don't know. I can't think of it right now. Maybe as we continue to iterate, I'll come up with something. But right now, we'll leave this as a cliche. But I do want to change it to something. Like, anything weird happens, I'll just change it to what I'm thinking of right now. We're running out of there like anything weird happens, we're gonna run like we're being chased by werewolves. I don't know. I don't love it, but that's that's the placeholder right now. Maybe I will change it later. But that's the vibe. Sometimes you gotta just revise on a vibe. And know that when you see it later, you're gonna be like, "Ugh, that was the best I could think of." Really? Ugh. Ugh. You'll hopefully have enough brain power to fix that one part later. Okay, two kids set off into the darkness. Oh yeah, I want a word count on this. Also, The small shack. I kind of like the small shack. But it's not what I was planning exactly. Because the first choice is they have to go into the Hall of Mirrors or into the Utilidors. So I kind of like the idea that they approach a building that seems important and open, and that makes them decide, okay, do we go under it or do we go inside? I want to overthink it, but I also don't have any ideas. So it's just like a big shed, a shed but bigger. Like that's as far as I can think right now, while also trying to explain my thought process. So let me think. Oh yeah, we have this picture. We have this picture for inspiration. Let me look at this wonderful creepy picture that has like this giant blood moon thing. I think what it did is it took the Ferris wheel that was in the background of the original picture and then kind of made it into a sun. But then I don't know. I dig this picture though. Like the more I look at it, the more I think that's fucking awesome, even though it doesn't make perfect sense, but art doesn't have to make perfect sense. That's kind of what's cool about AI art, is it gets the vibes down pretty consistently, even if sometimes people have extra fingers and arms and floating disconnected arms and things that really don't fit as far as we normally judge art. But yeah. So maybe this is the first building. Maybe the building that the AI gave us through Art Breeder tonight is our starting point. And they can go into this weird churchy building, or they can go under it to the back path. A different route. Oh no, I've destroyed this book. Nobody tell the children reading this book. Oh god, what have I done? So I guess that's our inspiration. The the first choice, the first crucial choice. They shouldn't allow me to write books. Okay, I want a word count. That was the thing I really was trying to wrap my head around. Okay, so investigate or turn back. So this was the first gen. Let me get total word count on this. Word count, hello? Ooh, 434. That's too much. The first one can be longer. So I think I'll take all this out of here. And I just copied it. So I'm gonna just cut there. Let me get a word count on this part. 299. Okay, that's good. So just under 300 for this opening scene. I think it sets up our adventure pretty well. They talk each other into shit. Their voices aren't very distinct right now, but I mean, it's a first draft, so. And both characters are basically um, audience stand in characters, so they shouldn't have an overabundance of personality by themselves. At least that's my assumption. Maybe I'll change that as we go. Okay, so an hour in, and we have, I think, what is really going to be the core of our beginning that I might revise a little bit, but I think this is our beginning. So now, here we go, scene 2. All right, that's it for part 1. This stream was like over 3 hours, so I'm gonna split it up into reasonable chunks. So tune in next week and we'll finish up with the Carnival story part of the stream. And then the week after, I'll fit the whole intro to the Werewolf story into one episode. So subscribe to the channel and, ring the bell, and you'll see on Wednesdays when I post those. That's the goal. And you'll stay all caught up and support the channel and all of that. All right, thank you, everybody. Please go play around with your own AI tools, your own creativity, your own outlines, because that's really what this is all about, not just me playing around with the pictures and the text and stuff. I really hope to inspire all of you to go work on your own stuff too and make something that you couldn't have made without AI. Or you could have, but it would have taken you 10 times as long. You'll see when you go start messing around with it. Have fun. Bye.